Hi Gopi, long time.
Absolutely, Archana. Lovely to catch up again.
Hi, I'm Archana Joshi and I'm one of the founder directors of Ekadaksha Learning Centre for children with special needs. The special needs children whom we deal with are children on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, children who have learning difficulties, children who are intellectually challenged, who have behavior issues and the like. We take children from the age group of 4 to 18 years old.
Hi, my name is Gopinath Ramakrishnan. Everybody calls me Gopi. I'm from an organization called SCAN, Special Child Assistance Network. So we are a support group for families who have a member with disability. Most of our members have children with intellectual or developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and so on. What we try and do is to help the families to endure the journey, to have fun along the way, and to see how they can help each other and help their child.
So my first question to you, Gopi. So what was the Chennai of your childhood like and how has it changed?
So actually in my childhood it wasn't Chennai at all. It was Madras. And I think I've seen quite a few t-shirts saying something like this, Chennai is a city and Madras is an emotion. So I think for all of us who are of a certain vintage, it's more about the Madras that we knew when we grew up and we were young, and there was one flyover in the whole city. So you didn't have to say which flyover, just said flyover, and it was the Gemini flyover, nothing else. You could walk along the beach and you wouldn't have all these stalls selling all kinds of things. At best, one guy selling, the sundal will come after you. So a much quieter town, much safer town, I think, because a lot of us kids used to be roaming the streets and would come back home well after dark. And these are days without cell phones or anything, so people wouldn't worry about us. It was much quieter and safer compared to what it is today. Today is much more bustling and busy, which is also good in a way.
But I still think Chennai is one of the best metro cities. Still bustling, getting there maybe, but still one of my favorite cities.
I've lived in, of course, Chennai for most of my life. I've lived in Bombay. I've lived in New York. I've lived for some time in Pune, but Chennai is home.
Yes.
So that's definitely very true.
For me, I've never even thought of going outside Chennai ever in my life. So it's always like go for a holiday, but back home all the time, always.
You've started Ekadaksha, your learning center, about 15 years ago.
Yeah, 15 years.
So what has changed in Chennai for you in the last 15 years?
When we were children in school, I'm sure many children in our class would have had special needs. We didn't know. We had no clue. We just thought, oh, boy doesn't study well, and those kind of things. He would get scoldings from the teachers, and that's about it. And I'm sure none of my friends, no one actually knew anything about special needs. Frankly, after doing my course, only I came to know what is autism. Otherwise, I had no clue about what autism was. So that was, say, maybe 20 years ago. Then when we started Ekadaksha, people were sort of aware. Again, I'm not talking about the public. I'm talking about the parents who have children with special needs. They kind of had an awareness, okay, our child has some problems, some issues and all that, and they would come forward, to try to figure things out. But that also, there was a hesitation and all that, and parents would put their children in, take their children out, come back after a few years again, and all that stuff would happen, Of late, like, awareness has improved in the sense of people know the terms. People know the terms of autism. People know the terms of maybe they don't know learning difficulty, but they know like, okay, dyslexia. Yeah. So at least that awareness, we can take it positively, So over these 15 years, that the terms have, people have become aware of the terms. And now also I see, but like people want to do something. Like earlier people would do it a lot out of like maybe, they are doing some social service. Chalo, let's go and help out. But now I see people also doing it on those lines, social service lines, but also like, hey, we want to spend time with people with special needs. We want to understand them better. We want to know, what this is all about. So that particular awareness also has slightly come. That's a very nice thing to see actually, because we call people, and I'm really like happy to see that they enjoy with our children. That's the biggest happiness I get.
They're able to interact. They're able to
interact and stuff. Of course, our children are our children,
Yeah.
so they will not listen sometimes, then the teacher has to intervene, etc. But overall, they have a great time, and even the friends and the people who visit us have a great time.
Wonderful.
So in the end, that's what we want, right? So yeah. How inclusive do you think Chennai is, Gopi?
Over the years, I think Chennai has become very inclusive. See, one thing about Chennai, I would say, and from the days of being Madras, is that we've always welcomed people from outside. Right? It's been inclusive. I mean, see, your family, for example,
Yes.
is settled from Gujarat, and
True.
if you go to Sarkarpet, you find so many people from
Not
Rajasthan,
always.
Marwadis, and so on, who come and settled and who are as much as of Chennaiites or Madrasis as we are, right? So it's always been inclusive from that point of view. But now, when it comes to people with the kind of challenges, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and you say the awareness is going up. So I think inclusion has happened not because of any formal training, not because people have been educated in that sense, but simply because people are empathetic. And that's a trait I think you find of people here. By and large, they are empathetic. So I've seen people who are the watchmen in buildings, auto rickshaw drivers. They've been empathetic because of their nature. It's not that somebody has given them a course on what is, disability or what is special needs, but it's just the nature that they say, hey, this person looks like they could need some comfort, some gentle handling. Let me talk to them the way that they can be spoken to and they will appreciate, rather than trying to tell them what to do in the way that I would normally tell them.
Yeah.
I think that kind of empathy has come a long way. So, and of course, to a certain set of people who've got the exposure to what disabilities are, what special needs are. They've watched the movies or read the books or whatever, and they know a little bit about what is autism, for example, or what is cerebral palsy. Those people have, of course, that learning which is making them more inclusive.
Absolutely.
But we also find that when it comes to the younger generation, in fact, we have a program called Scan Buddy Up, which is really about helping our children make friends, especially those who are 15 plus, helping them make friends in this world. A couple of times a month, some college students who are volunteers come in and hang out with our kids, and no parents allowed. They play some games, they play some music, they sing some songs, they kick a ball around, whatever they feel like doing, And in this, interestingly, I find there is such a lot of interest amongst the youngsters. The spirit of volunteering is really caught on in Chennai. I remember once we had an event in Chennai at the beach at 6 or 6:30 in the morning, which is the only time you can actually do something at the beach. And at the end of it, I asked a couple of them, where you come from? They said, we come from Tambaram. And I said, when did you leave home? He said, we left home at 4:30 to catch a bus and come to Besan Nagar and then walk to the beach. I said, I was amazed. I said, it's what drives you to do this? So a couple of them said it actually started with the floods in Chennai back in 2015. They got into some local WhatsApp groups to help out. And over a period of time, those WhatsApp groups continued. And of course, Chennai tends to have floods every other year. So, this volunteering work continued. And they liked giving back to society. I think that's the big thing, right? The joy of contributing is what they realized. So now they're willing to contribute in every which way. So it's fantastic to see the youngsters come in and hang out, and it's the empathy which comes out loud and clear. You don't need to know what is autism. You don't need to know how to handle behavior and things like that. Absolutely. It's just that if you're interested, then
you're present.
You're present,
yes,
and you engage.
True. I've seen this in our events which we are having in the past 2 years, right? Calling people for the sports activities, especially. They come back not because they know me or anybody else at Ekadaksha, but they come back because they want to come back,
Absolutely.
And even if it's just 3-4 people, it doesn't matter to me. It's like they're coming back because they love being with those children, So, and they have fun with those children. So, I think, that's an interesting thing, which is actually true. In Chennai, people do like to come and help if they have the time. The thing is, the time is sometimes the little bit of a barrier, but otherwise, yes.
How do you decide, when is the child right for admission to Ekadaksha? In the sense that, how do you determine that the support the child needs is something that you can provide?
We basically do an informal assessment.
Okay.
We don't do formal assessments at Ekadaksha. We informally observe the child. We keep some activities. We observe what activities the child would actually prefer to do, what they, push away. Because our concept is like, if we try to do a formal assessment, force the child, no, you have to sit, you have to do this, you have to do, we are not going to get anything out of the child. No. We are not going to figure out what the actual difficulty of the child is. So our job is not to put a label on the child. It's just to find out what kind of difficulties the child may have, or may not have. Of course, one of us talking to the parents, we get all the background, if the child is going to a regular school or has gone to a regular school earlier, now going to a special school, not going to school anymore, any violent behaviors, etc., sleep patterns, all kinds of information we get from the parents. After this, we have a discussion among ourselves, because one of us has observe the child, one of us is with the parents, so we come together and we discuss that, okay, this is the issue, that, and then we decide whether we need the child to come for remedial classes, or whether the child needs to come and be in the school, be in the full-time school, or we can give a home plan to the child. So it's based on our chat with the parents. They get the documents also, any doctor's certificates or whatever it is. But our main thing is the informal observation of the child.
Observe the child, see what he or she is likes to do, or is averse to doing, and then form your mind.
See, the main thing about special needs or anybody in this world, according to us, is it's to let the person be who he or she is, but also learn certain ways to overcome certain difficulties what they have. Like many of our children having behavioral issues, violent issues, so they can't go around the world hitting others or hitting themselves. So we work a lot on their communication, we work a lot on their behaviors through their way. It's not like forcing them and giving them lectures all the time. It's figuring out which way would help that particular child overcome that violent behavior. He or she may have those emotions. You can't take away emotions from people, right? But work around your emotions without doing the violent behavior and all.
Yeah, because I think they say that all behavior has a reason. There is a cause for it. Yes. So you have to identify what is triggering that behavior.
Exactly. You find the trigger, you can easily figure it out, work on communication. The child will definitely start communicating, and that will reduce a lot of behaviors. Of course, one behavior goes, another behavior may come. Of course. But it's then easy to work around it.
You have a process for it.
Yes, for the child and for the teacher and for the parent, So, Gopi, what do you think are the support structures available for families here in Chennai with people with special needs actually?
Well, there are quite a few. I think, obviously, you start with the medical fraternity because that's where the initial diagnosis usually happens. The pediatrician, or they go to a specialist, they go to a psychiatrist or psychologist. Yeah. So the medical fraternity is obviously the first port of call. And then comes the educational setup and centers like yours, as well as the full-fledged special schools, which are taking in only on a full-time basis, as well as the inclusive schools, to the extent that there are schools that are inclusive in Chennai. And there's a whole bunch of people who are, operating as therapists and special educators, doing remedials at home or going for home tuition, which also matters. Yes. And of course, there are people like us, groups like us, like SCAN, which are support groups for the parents. But more importantly, I'm seeing now a lot more which is to do with things like alternative therapies, alternative systems, for example, sports as therapy, arts as therapy, and so on. And that's really wonderful, because in a lot of these cases, it's not only for these children. Yes. It's really that if there's somebody who's taking football classes or cricket, then there are regular kids as well. There are neurotypical kids who are there, and then there are the special kids. So then there's a lot of integration that happens, inclusion that happens. And that really is blossoming a lot, because I see a lot of art classes, pottery classes, sports classes coming up all across the city. And that's really something which is going to give a lot of comfort to the parents.
Yeah, absolutely true. Because I think sports and fitness, I think earlier it was not at all, especially for children with special needs, no way. It was mostly like OT, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, those kind of things. But now sports and fitness, especially even inclusive fitness, is happening off late, and that's a really nice thing to know actually, because people are interested in helping out and supporting. So because we also had a fitness class last year, where they would work more on the nervous system, and as well as the fitness of the children. That's all really nice to see that we are having that kind of support system. And I think in Chennai there is a lot of support system actually.
But I do wish that we had better geographic coverage of the support systems, because I see again it tends to be more in the south of Chennai and maybe towards the west. Northern Chennai tends to, like in many
much.
things, they tend to get the...
North Chennai, there is not really much when it comes to special needs.
Yeah.
Because, I live in that area. So, you don't really have special schools.
So, not so many. There are a few coming up. There's some centers coming up, but definitely there's been, compared to the rest of Chennai, there's a lot.
It's more like RA Puram, Adyar, Tiruvannur.
Exactly.
That kind
South
of
Chennai
areas,
there's a lot of options.
Yes, a lot of options available. True. Yeah.
But if you go to Korattur or you go to Thondayarpet, it's far less. Yeah. That's something which maybe we can all work together on.
Yeah, we have to work together on.
So one of the things that we from SCAN are trying to address this issue of geographical imbalance, and this is the beauty today, thanks to COVID perhaps, that everybody is very comfortable online. So SCAN itself is primarily on an app called Telegram, kind of like WhatsApp, and we have about 800 parents on that, and they're from all across the world, but mostly from Chennai and definitely all across Chennai. And we're also on Facebook, which again, is online, and there are a lot of people from around the city on that. So what happens is when they have a query about something, whether it's to do with medication or therapies or diets or behavior of a child, the parent is able to post that question, and then the community of other parents immediately jumps in and gives them suggestions, tips on what to do. So that way, groups like us are able to help in a small way mitigate the challenge that people in different pockets of the city face, that they're not able to access the support. The support infrastructure may not be very accessible for them, but at least online we are able to help out to a large extent. An inclusive school is one that is open to admit children of all abilities, children who are neurotypical, so-called regular children, as well as those who are neurodiverse, children who are maybe on the autism spectrum, have cerebral palsy or Down syndrome, or any other kind of disability for that matter.
When it comes to inclusivity in schools, okay, so what happens is, usually they say they have inclusion and all that, and the child is admitted. The caretaker may not even be knowing what to do with the child sometimes. Sometimes the caretaker is very good, so you can't really say. And sometimes the caretakers are not given by the schools. The parents have to pay separately for that, get a caretaker from outside, again running around and trying to get stuff, or a shadow teacher, etc. Again, depends on the difficulties of the child. If the child is like a very child who keeps running around, doesn't sit in one place. Some caretakers really don't want to even take care of those kind of children. So, finally, I'm not sure whether the inclusivity happens, but I have seen inclusivity work. Like example, my friend, her son studied in a particular school 20 years ago or something like that. That particular school worked really well for her son. She was not too much into academics. She wanted other aspects of her child to be worked on, and social aspects and everything. And she worked a lot at home. Same school, you send some children, it's not really working out. So
absolutely, there are multiple factors. It depends on what are the support needs of the child, as you said. They have support needs. What are the behavior issues? Exactly. As you say, is the child going to be disruptive in the class? The teacher also, we have to sympathize. Because there are 25 kids in the class, then they also need some way of controlling the class and getting them focused. But interestingly, I've also come across parents who've told me that their child is going to a school which is not calling itself inclusive, but actually in practice it is. And one parent told me, please don't tell other parents that this school is inclusive, because the principal has said, we don't have any special educators. We cannot actually officially state we are inclusive, because then we'll be asked all these questions. But what we try and do is to sensitize all our teachers, all our staff, and we try and include and accommodate the child to the extent that we can. So it works in practice, but not, on paper.
But what I have also noticed with the children who come to our center for remedial classes is, they have their class teachers or the teachers who work in their school who suggest to the parents that why don't you go, check out, your child has some issues in the class. Why don't you go so and so place and just have an assessment and then go for remedial classes? Your child will improve. So that's how it works. Some teachers are aware and they are interested to help the children. Some teachers just go on with their usual regular teacher work. Can't blame them as well.
So it's very individual specific.
So I don't know where inclusion actually stands in regular schools.
And we should not forget government schools, because government schools, while most people in the middle and upper middle classes may look down upon them, a lot of special needs parents have sent their child because they said, I'm not able to get admission anywhere else. And some of them have reported they're absolutely fine, that the teachers are supportive and the other kids are supportive. There may not be much of academic gain. They may not learn a lot, but they have fun in the school. They enjoy their time there. The social part, as you mentioned, is being addressed, and they feel that they are like everybody else, which is, I think, very important. Our children should feel that they are not anything less than others.
True. We have another friend whose son went to such kind of a school, and where he was being bullied and stuff in the private school and by the teachers, children, everybody. Here he gained in like a smaller, like a little more of a government school, where the students were more the fishermen's sons and all that stuff. He gained a lot of confidence. He gained friends. And when he was sick one day, these guys came home to check out on him, like how is he and all that. So she was like, this is wow, nobody has ever done that, So like you said, definitely those schools could work better, but again, would anyone want to send their children easily, to those?
It becomes, unfortunately, it becomes the last resort.
Yes.
But we should also still be aware that it's an option. Should not shut it down. So, Archana, 15 years of running Ekadaksha, what would you say are the biggest challenges?
So, the biggest challenge would be, of course, handling parents. This is the biggest challenge, not the children. Of course, handling the children is a challenge in its own way, but that's not the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is figuring parents out, because of course, parents go through a lot, agreed, from the time the child is born. When they figure out that the child has an issue, accepting those issues, etc., anxiety, a lot of things running in the parents' head, don't deny that. But it's a big challenge, first and foremost, for us to explain to people who come to Ekadaksha, the parents who come to Ekadaksha, to make them realize that this is a school and there has to be discipline. There is a timetable, you have to follow the timetable. You can't take leave just like that. You have to be regular, you have to be consistent. That is number one challenge.
So, do they think Ekadaksha is just a daycare center where they can just drop off the child and get relief for 6 hours?
Some of them do. Honestly speaking, some of them do. So that is a big challenge for us, that this is not a daycare center. Another challenge would be, you also got to work at home. We are giving you suggestions. You also giving us suggestions. You are also helping us out, with the whole thing. Then we are giving you suggestions. Please work with that at home as well. Because only if you work together, things will, the child will evolve even better. Trying to, get to the parents, like you need to work a lot on yourself as well. Not only for your child, but for yourself. So they tend to forget themselves, a lot of the parents. They tend to only finally focus on what is wrong with the child. They're not able, like right now I'm trying to tell a lot of parents, enjoy with your child, enjoy with your child. I know it's not easy thing, but there's so much which has to be erased from their mind for them to enjoy with their child. There's a lot of work to be done in that aspect. And that's a big challenge, to make parents realize that they can enjoy with their child and they don't always have to keep instructing their child, adu panna kudadu, idu panna kudadu. It's always like that with our children. But it need not be like that. Since you also work a lot with parents and families, what is your take on...
The parents are full of worry. So one of the things we do in our events at SCAN is that we say that this is a safe space. Your child can do whatever they want and you don't have to worry. So my goal actually is to get the parents to relax, because when the parents relax, then the child relaxes. because the parents are so uptight, right? They say, don't do this, don't touch that, etc. And we have sometimes a music event, somebody's performing, the child will be running around on the stage because they're enjoying the music. And the parents are so anxious. They say, no, you relax first, the child can do whatever they want. So that goes a long way to first say that we accept the child for who he or she is and what they do. And we will manage the behaviors by understanding why the behavior happens. A very interesting thing which happened, one of our events. So we're just about to start the program, and there's everybody is seated in the amphitheater, and I'm down the bottom just introducing the participants. And one of our youngsters, about maybe 10, 12 years old, he's trying to clamber up the middle of the amphitheater. So disrupting all the people sitting there, and obviously disturbing me because I'm trying to introduce Scan and the performers. And I just waited, and then I saw he climbed up about 5 steps to catch hold of another boy, his friend. And then only I realized that because the rule there is that you leave your footwear outside, and this child who was sitting on the 5th row up had not taken off his sandals, but this boy had seen it, and he wanted to tell his friend, you have to follow the rules, you have to go. But the thing is that he didn't think about, hey, the program is starting, somebody is talking, I'm disturbing so many people by clambering up in between them and pushing them aside. For him, it was all about
remove
your slippers, because that's the rule here. You are coming for the first time, I've been here before, so come down. So he brought that boy down, he took off his sandals, and then they both went back up and sat and thoroughly enjoyed the program for the next 2 hours. So we understand them and let them be. Rather than imagine if all the people there had said, boy, sit down, don't disturb, keep quiet, sit quietly. Then he would have been frustrated and aggravated because he was not able to do what he thought was right.
Exactly.
The minute we gave him 30 seconds, the problem solved itself. It's a process of education.
Yes.
And we started, at least in our events, by saying that this is a safe space for the children. They can do whatever they want. Parents who misbehave will be asked to leave. So that's what I tell. That's what I tell them. There's no question of the children misbehaving. They will just behave the way they can. They can and they should.
How active the government is in supporting, our intellectual and developmental difficulties, people with these difficulties.
So let's talk about, specifically Chennai and Tamil Nadu. There's a lot of work which is being done by the government. For example, they've established this Autism Center for Excellence in Chennai, which is meant to be the first one here, and then they want to have more across the state. They do have budgets for various assistive devices, the monthly allowance for the children with disabilities or the people with disabilities. And now we're hoping that they will also expand it to the caregivers, because a lot of caregivers give up their career in order to look after the person with disability. Even medical camps and so on. Recently, they've also gotten onto the online bandwagon, and they've started organizing almost every week. There is a session organized by the government on various aspects. So it could be on toilet training, it could be on behavior issues, it could be on education and career. Various aspects, they're having experts come in. There is NIPMED out on ECR, which is a central government institute, which is one of the best when it comes for assessments and therapies.
Yes.
And not only that, they've also had other things. For example, they've started, they for many years now, they've had courses for the parents, because they know the mothers are sitting and waiting while the children are in school. So they've started tailoring classes and other things. So the livelihood of the parents can also be addressed.
Wonderful.
But also remember that there are various kinds of disabilities, and there's also pulls and pressures for different disabilities, 21 disabilities. Autism is one of them. So we have to also understand that even when the government wants to allocate some resources, whether it's money or people towards disability, even that has to go across all of those.
True. Yes.
So to that extent, we can't expect beyond a point. And honestly, I would say we should also be a little bit more self-reliant for those of us who can afford it, so that we don't depend on the government for everything.
But what do you think about the disability ID then? Like, you think all strata should actually go for the disability ID? Because the disability
100%.
ID has a lot of advantages, like travel allowances,
exactly.
etc.
So you get the travel allowance, you get the railway concession, you get the monthly stipend that you get. And then also later on, when it's time to get into the workforce, then there's there's a reservation for people with disabilities, so it helps in all of that.
But there are things happening.
Things are happening. Can things be better when it comes to government? Can things be better? Can things be more? Always. Yes. But let's be a little practical and say that let's take what they're giving us
take
and
it
push. We'll
as
push
it
for
is.
more,
Yes.
but also recognize the good work that's
Yes,
happening.
true. Absolutely.
What would you say is the most rewarding part of running a center like Ekadaksha?
Obviously, one standard answer is obviously the children who evolve as they come to us. Like in Ekadaksha, we just believe, given the input, one day some output will come. Something good will come out of it. No problem. If the child is not responding at the moment, no problem. You just keep showing him, keep telling him, and surely one day that particular output may come. So just seeing the children evolve. So like for example, last year we had a boy, he won't climb the stairs, he won't budge from one point to the other point, he'll just like sit in this point, won't get up, won't budge. Now that fellow is like all over the place. You tell him to go up, he'll go up. When he wants to play around, he'll play around. So, those kind of small things, it's what keeps us going, and not only that, in this, I have actually no background of special needs at all, my family or anybody. But when I came into this field, got to know more about children with special needs, etc. and all that, the want and the feeling to do more, that lots can be done, things can be done, like maybe inclusiveness or just getting people to realize to be with these people without judgments, just let them be part of this world without being judged for every single move of theirs or whatever it is. Just wanting to do lots more for them, getting their capability out. Because our children are capable. A lot of our children are capable in different ways. Like how all of us are capable in different ways. You may have some great talent, somebody else may have a great talent. We may not have talents at all, whatever it might be. So they are also human beings. They deserve to be in this world, be respected and live their life happily. So the feeling to get there is always there. So that always keeps us going for Ekadaksha. It just keeps us going.
So what is it that you think that Chennai or Chennaiites can learn or get to know about intellectual and developmental disabilities that they don't know already?
The one thing which I keep on mentioning is that you can have fun with them. You can enjoy with them. So that is one thing I would like people to know. 100%.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's not tedious work. It is not charity work. This is not. We don't want to put on the Mother Teresa image of saying that I'm doing this for the good of the thing. I'm sacrificing. It's not sacrifice, but actually having a good time.
Having a
Wonderful.
good time. You can have fun with them.
Wonderful.
If you're present, you're interested, 100%. Definitely.
What is a good source of fun in Chennai? Other than the beach, we all love the beach. We know that.
Yeah.
But other than that, where would you go to for fun in Chennai?
Technically, my fun is only one place where I like usually go to. That's the club which we are members of. So we do a lot of sports activities. We have all our get-togethers there. We have a lot of friends there. We hang out there. Dinner, chit-chat, swim, lot of stuff. Everything actually there under one roof.
Nice.
So what's something you miss about Madras, Chennai?
I actually miss the beach because the beach is not what it used to be.
Agreed.
It's very sad because it's now so commercial. It's so crowded. Not crowded in a good way. It's crowded with too many commercial activities and things. And I really miss the days when the beach was a oasis of calm and quiet, and you could just go and spend an evening there, relaxed and look at the stars and the waves. But without having so much of stuff being sold to you.
True.
So that's
in fact
ironical.
I used to go to the Besinagar beach a lot.
Besinagar beach,
but now that's also become a lot like Marina Beach as well. So
exactly. So Archana, we love Chennai. We are saying a lot of nice things about Chennai.
Yes.
But what is something that you don't like? Something that you like to ban in Chennai?
The people who drive badly in Chennai. Okay, whatever said and done, most of the people, so to ban everybody from driving. It's not like we have so much of traffic, but like nowadays people are driving like crazy. So they don't look around, they just like coming from wherever and stuff like that. With the roads also right now with the metro work and all going on. So it's become a little crazy, the traffic. It's a little bit scary at times. So I ride a two-wheeler. So sometimes the two-wheelers crisscrossing all over. So I like to ban those people because I'm always always screaming when I'm driving the vehicle. No peace of mind while riding the vehicle. Yeah, so that's one thing I would probably ban.
Oh yeah, or at least the honking. If nothing else, the honking.
Yeah. The signal is red and somebody is honking behind you. I'm like, it's red. You got to wait.
How do you visualize the Chennai of the future?
So the Chennai of the future, like the way it's going now, I think it's just going to be like developing only. I mean, like, now the Madras which you knew is not coming back, I think,
Oh yeah. I also think that what's going to happen is in Chennai, as you develop and you see the development is happening in a way, the suburbanization of Chennai, as I call it.
Yeah.
Because earlier when you talk about suburbs, you said Velacheri or Guduvancheri or something. That was like nothing was there. Just back of the beyond, people lived there because it was cheap. But now you find that if you live down ECR or you live in Ananagar is your city or ECR is your city because you have everything. You have the malls, you have the restaurants, you have
everything.
You have everything. You have the schools, you have the doctors, the hospitals, you have everything. So you have these little pockets of mini cities which will develop and which may help the traffic problem also because you don't need to then commute. The workplaces also start happening there.
It shouldn't suddenly become just different patches. I hope that doesn't happen. I still hope we be like one Chennai.
We'll all come for CSK match, no?
Yeah.
Everybody will come to watch Tale at Chepauk. So that everybody will get together.
Everybody will get together. So, coming to the final question of our chat, I guess, yeah? So, interesting question. So, you're a Chennaiite when? Dash. Fill in the blanks.
First is, you're a Chennaiite when you know what whistle podu means. Okay, that's I'm a big CSK fan, as you can make out. Yeah. That's definitely
whether you're a fan or not, you will know whistle podu.
Yeah. That's one. What else will make anybody know that you're a Chennaiite?
I think, we use some terms like, Vodda, Macha, all those kind of things, I think, would show that you're a Chennai. Because I recently went to Goa and I'm talking to my friend there who's not from Chennai. So, like, I tend to, say, hey, no, da. And then I was like, okay, he doesn't know what da is, So, I'm like, no, man. No, yeah, but I had to make myself say man or the, so I had to stop myself from saying da and say another word instead of da, and I guess that for me would be people knowing that you're a Chennaiite.
I was thinking of it the other day as, this is what has changed in Chennai.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Now everybody says bro.
Bro, yeah, that's true.
The Swiggy guy will call me up and say, which floor, bro? It's not the issue of, status or age difference.
No, it's just that.
It's just that it was I was taken aback that he was using the word bro.
Like, when did this happen?
No, like, I mean, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So when did this happen?
That's also generational because, like, even our das and machas were mostly directed to our friends and people we know.
Exactly.
Like, we wouldn't call our teachers or something.
No. I don't think that his was his. Most people don't also. Now also, I don't think most people do.
See how the thing has changed.
No, but
for them, everyone's bro.
No, that doesn't happen because when they, like, when all our volunteers and all come, they don't call me bro. They don't do that. But they call each other bro. Well, and they're all, a lot of them are, habitually Tamil speaking. They're not, they come from smaller towns, they speak, they're more conversant with Tamil. But this word alone stands out. Whereas it was the other way around earlier, those of us urban educated, English speaking, but you will say da or macha only. You talk in English, say da.
Da, yeah, correct.
Or macha. And these people talk in Tamil and say bro.
True.
அப்படி இல்ல bro, இப்படிதான் ஆச்சு bro. That's what happens. Whereas we'll be like, what do you do tomorrow, macha? That's, it's
okay, bros.
Yeah.
Let's close this now.
Sure, da.
Super. Lovely time with you, Archana.
Yes,
Always
same
nice to
here.
catch up.
Yes,
And
yes,
we should
Gopi.
do this more often.
Definitely. It was great catching up, great being here. I mean, superb. Awesome.
Thank you so much for a lovely
Thanks, man.
chat.
Thank you.